Well, hello there and welcome. I am S.R. Moore, and this is Mistwood Publishing, the best place to rediscover your wonder and to allow yourself to still be inspired. All right, today I want to talk about probably my favorite character from Saga 2, and that is Lyra's sister. If you've seen some of the other videos in this series, then you know that the wood-elves in this book are like something you've never seen before, because I try to show you and give you things that you've never seen before. I don't just want to rehash ideas that have happened a million times in fantasy. So one of the things I did was I took kind of the stereotype of like your pompous, proper, or like, British sounding, and I drink my tea with my harp and everything, elves from like Lord of the Rings, and I've combined them with like barbarian fantasy stereotypes. So Evergreen Island in Saga 2 is the name where these elves live, and you have this society where there are high elves and wood elves living together, and the high elves live in the high branches, and the wood elves live on the forest floor, and the wood elves are the military. They're the ones that defend the land. They're the ones that hunt. They only wear armor made out of the pelt and the bones and the sinew and the tendons and all of that of the things that they've bested in battle, whether that is an animal or a person or whatever. So everything that Valandra wears as armor is from things that she's killed or bested in battle. So Valandra's got these little like mini cape banner things on, falling down from her shoulder, and they're tiger pelts of these two tigers that she killed. She also has a companion horned tiger named Redwind. And I got to be honest with you, this character initially was pretty much just like filler. Like, I had seen this comic book art of Giganta, which is a Wonder Woman villain, and I was like, oh, that looks really neat, you know, and that's what gave me the idea for Wood Elves having this barbarian persona. I was like, oh, that's pretty neat. At that point, I had already come up with like the owl kind of aesthetic. So Evergreen Island is it's very orange and white and cream colors and like red, very fall colors. And everything is like owl. So there's like the three branches in the government. There's like the queen, there's what we would consider like a parliament, and then there's like the military class. And Valandra is the leader of the third branch. You get it because they live in a tree. It's the three branch, and owls live in trees. Like it all, and I'm actually quite proud of it. The Kingsguard, if you will, are called the Talons. I mean, it's all very cool and owl themed, and I absolutely love it. It's easily my favorite elf culture in any fantasy ever. Um, death by, like their preferred execution is death by branches. So like they just throw you off the highest like citadel, because they build the city within the trees, branches and whatnot. And you just die by like being bludgeoned by hitting branch after branch after branch as you fall down. And then you get impaled and like the owls eat you. And like that's their method of execution. So like it's a bit more of like a brutal elf culture. They've been separated from the elves of Fostra for hundreds and hundreds of years. Anyway, so the high elves give the wood elves a voice in this third branch, and Valandra's kind of like the elected representative of the third branch, the military council. And anyway, she's also a commander on the forest floor, so she's kind of like our female femme fatale, like warrior. Kind of like Red Sonja vibes. It's basically like if you took Red Sonja and made her into an elf. So she is very elegant and proper, but also like brutal and really cool. Valandra is probably the deadliest character I've ever come up with. She has the coolest fights in the entire book. She has the coolest combat scenes. She's like an assassin, because she's so that barbarian fantasy archetype is very much so like rage and like berserking and things like that. So you have that element. So like Valandra can go like ham, like just like wailing on somebody. But and so she has like that, at least for a female character, she has that brute strength. But she and like just being able to really take a hit. But she also has that like elvish flexibility and nimbleness. So like she'll be like they're like fighting these spiders, and she's like slaying them and like jumping from spider to spider mid-air, doing like kind of like Legolas meets Red Sonja meets like stereotypical fantasy barbarian with a Russian accent. And she also has this sword that's really you've probably never heard of called a Ramphaya. I was watching Forged in Fire, and they made this sword, the Ramphaya, and I was like, I really think that looks cool. I'm going to give it to this character, because at that point, Valandra was basically just no personality. Like, she wore tiger pelts and had a glaive. In like the first two drafts, that's what she was like. And her entire personality was, I'm protecting my sister. But after watching that Forged in Fire episode, after writing the other arcs in Saga 2, ideas started to formulate and the characters started to evolve, and I got some art done with the ideas that I had in my head, and the character just blew up to the point of which she's going to have her own arc in Saga 3 and 4 called Demon Slayer, which will continue a lot of the stuff going on in Verdurn, the southern continent. But, I mean, this character is going to blow your mind with how cool she is. I mean, she's got like the elegant assassin elf kind of thing, but she also has that brutal... There's a moment where she gets captured, and she, manages to escape, but just by the skin of her teeth. Just by, like, through sheer brutality and force of will does she actually make it out. That's, I think, where a lot of writers go wrong with female characters or minority characters, is they make them so OP because they're afraid to make them imperfect for whatever reason, because they're afraid of critiques or something like that, that they make them unrelatable and inhuman. So yeah, Valandra's got all these cool skills, but she can be defeated. She gets beat up. I mean, she gets wrecked many, many times. And it's like, that's why you like characters like Luke Skywalker. Like, Luke Skywalker is this great character who just constantly fails, right? Valandra is very capable and really cool, but she's constantly failing. Constantly. Both emotionally and in physical confrontations. And it drives her insane. Like, she will not accept failure in herself. And it's just this really neat character, really relatable to someone who is just trying to be the best version of themselves, and like they are a capable person, but they're just willing to do whatever it takes to keep fighting. I mean, there's literally a moment where she's got someone's teeth embedded in her forehead, and she's just like slamming her head into their head in the mud and the blood, just like drenched in both of their own blood, because she's got to live. She's got to survive so she can go save her sister, so that she can keep fighting, so that she can save her homeworld, so that she can... Valandra is like the question of how far would you go? What would you do? How much is justified in the pursuit of saving everything you care about? And this is just a really great character. I'm very excited for people to meet her. Have a great bloody day.